Disney is not a style or a formula. It is the way you feel when you leave a Disney property. It is all about the feeling you get afterwards when you head home. It lingers like the smile you can't wipe off right away. Impossible to describe fully into words, but we all know the feeling. So does the entire world. They want more of that. Make sure you don't deny them the thing they came for. Give them that Disney feeling.
Hey everybody, it's Kim Hawk, and I'm known as YouTube's fairy godmother of real estate, and we are doing a series on the 100th anniversary of the Walt Disney Company. And who better than when you look at this company was started with two brothers, that now we have found two brothers that are executives with the Walt Disney Company. Last name is Gabriel. They're talking to us from either coast of the United States, and they are here to tell their stories. Welcome. We want to say hi and welcome to Tom Gabriel.
Thank you.
And Mike Gabriel.
Hello, nice being here, and we're happy to be a part of Disney's 100.
Yes. So I have been up all night, so excited to talk to you guys, because I'm thinking magic doesn't normally strike once for a family, but yet twice, lightning in a bottle, to have two sons that work for the Walt Disney Company with these incredible jobs and things that you have produced for the company. I just want you guys to kind of tell your story.
Sure. Who would you like to go first?
I guess Tom, since I got there first, I guess I'll go first.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we grew up, Tom and I were in the Air Force world, my dad in the Air Force. So we were stationed at bases throughout the country, but our main childhood for me was in Salina, Kansas, middle of the country. And I was somewhere around 6 years old, and I remember seeing Pinocchio, and I just decided this is what I want to do for a living, is draw those characters and be a part of Disney Studios. So from Salina, Kansas, it's really weird how you can imagine that little guy somehow ending up at Disney Studios in 1979. So I did get hired after, and I was 24 at the time, almost 25. So it took me till I was about 24 to get in, and I had to apply and try, somewhere around 8 times before I finally stopped trying and decided to get really good at my art. And then I was going to try, rather than try to get in before I could really draw very well. So I really pursued excellence in my drawing, and then I finally put the portfolio in, and still didn't get in. I went in for my first interview, and I had my portfolio. I had worked like 6 years on it, and I think from like 19 till I was about 24, so maybe 5 years. And I was studying Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo and muscles, and I would draw. I just did anatomy and horses and Edvard Muybridge books, on every frame that he would take pictures of an action, and he would just, so I drew every frame in every Muybridge book of birds, horses, humans, whatever they were doing, jumping, sitting, walking. So I just went nuts with filling art pads full of drawings, and I actually could see my drawings getting better. So I finally got hired in 1979, and after, like I said, I got turned down, but that weekend I did new drawings. What they said they needed was more silhouette and more action, and because I had drawn out of books, they said we can't really use these book drawings. So I just pursued. I had little Tom. Tom at the time was probably 8 years old, something like that. Yeah, right. In 79, you're probably 8 or 9. Little guy. Tom, I went out with Tom on the basketball court, and we were throwing the basketball around, and I would be drawing while we were playing basketball, and getting the action of Tom shooting hoops, and then we went down to the beach, and he'd be throwing a frisbee, and I'd draw him leaping for a frisbee. So I captured the action in those sketches, and that's what I took. I mailed them in on Monday. Like I had been on my interview on Friday, so I mailed the new sketches in on Monday, and by the end of the week, I did get hired. Yeah.
I mean, Mike's success is really because of me.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing, Tom. That's what
what would I have drawn? There would be nothing there but maybe a seagull. What's that going to be?
So where did the art come from? I mean, was mom or dad artistic, or where did that come from?
Well, she did have artists in her family. A couple of aunts of ours had paintings on the wall when we'd go see their houses, and well, pretty well done. I mean, they were of their daughters, so portraits of their daughters and their kids and all that. So, and then Mom would every now and then. It wasn't like Tom and I weren't really artists in the house till much later. But as a kid, I remember Mom would start sketching little drawings and little faces. So she did have, and that were actually really appealing and cute. And you probably don't remember that, Tom, do you? Because she only did that. I was pretty young, but I'd catch her sketching quite a bit. So they did have something in their family, but we can't name an artist in our past that, you know, great uncle Willibird, you know, who became a famous French painter of the French Impressionists. You know, none of that. It's just we just love Disney. I mean, it's really more of a Disney thing. We just love that TV show, Wonderful World of Color, and we would just be mesmerized like so many people. But we just would just want to go there, you know. And Tom, really, your affection, Tom, was more toward the theme parks, I believe.
Yeah, you were in the animation, you know, with drawing and all that, and I can barely draw stick figures. But,
Me too.
But you were always, you know, the artist in the family, and at the time I was into sports. I grew up from first grade on in Huntington Beach, and that's where I grew up. Went to school at Long Beach State and majored in radio, television, film, and then got an internship at Entertainment Tonight and worked there for too long a time, but learned how to edit there, which is kind of junk editing. It's just entertainment editing, but you get your chops and you learn to edit quickly, and it was a good way to start.
That's you.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody's coming in to say hi.
That's my granddaughter Reese. Yeah, that's Reese. So she lives with us. She's always here.
Do the grandkids love Disney as well? I would hope.
Yeah.
The dad
You
and
should
uncle.
see her performance of Elsa and Anna in Frozen is incredible. I mean, it's sort of like it can't be what we're seeing is because she's so good at, and she performs the expressions, and she's singing at the top of her lungs, and she's got the costume on, and I mean, it's just it breaks your heart to see it. It's so gorgeous, you know.
But is it 9 years difference between the two of you?
10 years. Yeah.
10 years. So there would be times when you were sitting and you were watching the Disney show Sunday, right, with the family. And I love that. So I get that one of you in particular could draw, and then Tom, you're like me, I can't even draw a bird.
Exactly.
But you love the Disney organization.
Oh, yeah. Our whole family loved Disney. We'd always watch it every Sunday night, you know, Wonderful World of Disney. And I mean, most families did at that time. So there wasn't a whole lot to choose from on TV, you know, in the early 70s.
I wish it would come back. I think it would be a big hit.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So from there, maybe we should chat a little bit about what you guys presently now do for Disney, have done for Disney, so our audience can see what I was talking about as the fire, you know, just this powerhouse brothers that have been on the scene with Disney. So talk to us a little bit about that. Tom, what are you doing now?
Well, right now I'm working. I can't really say everything that I do because I'm at Walt Disney Imagineering and everything is up and coming. So I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you. So.
I understand. Mine sounds like that too sometimes with projects. But you know what I love? The Imagineers, because you're on the coast with Florida now, if I understand correctly. Yep. Imagineers walk around here and people truly look at them like that's Walt Disney walking down the street. So there's so much respect for the
Imagineers. A lot of people like the Imagineers. It's pretty funny.
Yeah. So, you know, just to give an example, what an Imagineer could be, it could be somebody that engineering, you know, knows visual effects.
There's so many different disciplines for Imagineers. Yeah, there's really a ton of venue, you know, doorways that you can go through to become an Imagineer. I mean, it encompasses so many different disciplines. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, when I heard, you know, I always was an editor. And I wanted to get into Imagineering. I'm like, well, I can't, you know, because there's always artists drawing concepts and stuff. I'm like, well, I can't draw. I'm never going to get in there. But
my brother can, but I can't. Yeah.
Exactly. But there was a director at Entertainment Tonight who went and did a shoot over at Imagineering, and he came back. He's like, hey, there's like 3 edit bays over there, and they got editors. And I was all of a sudden I perked up. I'm like, what? I can edit for Walt Disney Imagineering, you know? So right then I set my goal. Like that's I'm going there. So. I tried to get in in the 90s, and it didn't work out. They already had 2 editors, and there wasn't enough work to support 3. And then once they started to, it just so happened when I went back a second time to try to get in, they were just starting Shanghai Disneyland, and they had all this material to get done, so it worked out timing-wise that way. So I started there in 2016.
And I love the fact, so we're getting the scoop that we do actually have an Imagineer that is in Florida now, because, there's been big talk about how a lot of the people are going to be coming over to potentially the Lake Nona campus at some point. It might be 2025, 2026, what have you. I know a lot of you have been in the Celebration area as well, but welcome to Florida.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to Florida when the weather's still nice and it's not humid and muggy and stuff. And
Yeah,
Mike's in California saying, okay.
Yeah, I got to go out for a visit for the first time to see his new house with his wife, Sue Ann. And I just love the whole area he's in. I love the houses. And we got tour, his wife was taking us around the lakes and all the properties right on the water. And then I forget what they're called, but the big walls. They're like these really super mansions are back behind them. And then we went to the Four Seasons for dinner and the golf course and all the properties around that. It was just stunning. And so luckily it didn't have the humidity factor yet, and it was just perfect weather. It really was. So we hit it just right. But we're going to go back. Now we want to go back every other month or so.
Mike, you're helping me sell Central Florida now, which I appreciate.
It really is beautiful out here. It is.
I told Dee too, we're going to create something special. So anybody watches this show that's thinking about moving from California to Florida or Imagineers, whatever, we're going to call it, what we're going to call it, we're going to call it the Gabriel gift. They tell me that they call it, and then we're going to give them a 1-year home warranty as a gift, right? Dee's going to hold me responsible. Dee's off camera right now, but he likes the idea too.
This whole era will be known as the Gabriel expansion.
That's right.
Yes, like angelic. That's right. That's right. That's right. So you can't talk about what you're doing, but we can talk about the fact that you've had great success doing many things for the Disney organization. And I recall something about Star Wars and stuff. Anything you want to talk about?
Yeah, I started off working for Disney. I actually worked at Disneyland Park when I was in Huntington. When I was in college, I worked on the Jungle Cruise as a skipper. So I did that for a year. And and at the time there was a cast member strike in the fall, and the guys didn't, I was friends with a lot of the guys. They didn't want me to cross the picket line, so I didn't. And then I started bartending, and I made a lot more money bartending. So I kind of, to get through college, I stuck with the bartending, but my heart was always with Disney. And then I finally got back in 2016, editing. But I worked on, at the time, my first project was the Iron Man experience at Hong Kong Disneyland. That was my first big project that I worked on. I've worked on Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout at California Adventure. I edited all that material. I've worked on Star Tours, The Adventure Continues. I've worked on Rise of the Resistance and Smuggler's Run, both of those.
Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, and these glitches are making me feel like Star Wars a little bit too. I love that. It's like your actual visual effect.
Yeah, exactly. I put that little effect in for you guys. No.
Yeah.
Worked on, Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind at Epcot. I just finished up. So, and now I'm working on a new project.
Fantastic. Well, I've got to ask you guys, because both, visual effects and then also having the ability to be the artist. Because I know when you mentioned something about Jungle Cruise, that made me think of the beloved Dick Nunis, who was a Jungle Cruise guy too before he became the president of Disney over here. And
it was John Lasseter. Lasseter was too.
Oh, Lasseter, yeah.
Jungle Cruise operator.
Yeah.
So there's a clue, guys. It's good to try to be a Jungle Cruise guy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a great jumping point. Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
If you really want to be a Disney employee.
Yeah, start there or the mailroom or something like
that. Yeah, that works too.
Now, with Dick Nunis, I've had the honor of being in his home with Mary Nunis, and they have a lot of cool, maybe you would call them visual effects type of thing in their home when you go through, kind of themed. I'd be interested with two gentlemen that are so creative as the two of you. Do you have creative type of visual effects in your home?
no visual effects, but we do have Disney memorabilia. We have, some original Disneyland attraction posters, and Kevin Kidney and Jody Daly did a bunch of 50th, I think it was Disneyland's 50th.
Yeah, the 50th.
Bunch of sculptures, so we have a collection of some of those, and just stuff like that.
Very good. Very good.
Ton of memorabilia. Yeah, maybe not so much special effect things. Although I've tried at Halloween to do the Pepper's Ghost in our entryway with the glass and putting a light, but it was too hard to control. It was too hard to control. I leave that to the geniuses at WDI.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike has a separate room in his house that could be a Disney store. I mean, it's insane. I mean, the amount of stuff he has in there.
Now, Mike, you
I probably shouldn't say that.
We're not telling the location.
Well, it's the one thing
on it.
It's the one thing I have collected a lot of. Somehow I've always looked way down the road in life, and so I've always, from the first few years I was at the studio, I would start collecting things because I thought one day this is going to be pretty cool to have. Because I know how rare it is to be on the inside now, and I'm getting something that only the people on the inside are going to have. So I've saved Disney newsreels from way back and posters. I've got so many of everything, maquettes and all. I mean, now I've got, because I was directing Pocahontas, I've got maquettes. They give you these painted maquettes for the artist. They make them, but then when the show's over, they give the directors a full set. And here she is, the star of the show.
Yeah, Pocahontas.
So I've got quite a few. And when you're at the studio in animation, they would make these maquettes. Even in CG films, they make the maquettes just as a giveaway, and so everyone can purchase them at a really good price, like $300 or something like that. It's not cheap, but you do it. But and here's Percy, by the way.
Oh.
So I've bought most of the films, even ones I didn't work on. I've got the maquettes. So I've got a lot of maquettes and cells.
Those maquettes would be great Christmas gifts for brothers. Just
Yeah.
They would. I hope you know.
And your favorite near Disney person too. I'm feeling that too.
Yeah, part of our trio here. But back in the early 70, let's say 79, 80, there was someone at the Roy O building on the lot that had cells. I don't know how she got them, where she got them, but she had a cabinet, like a filing cabinet full of cells from Jungle Book, a lot from Jungle Book and a lot from Aristocats and that sort of Xerox era. So a lot of it, and she would sell them for $40 each. You could go in there, we're like 20, early 20s. Hey, I hear you have a cell for a cell. And she'd pull her drawer out and she'd show you a bunch of these things here, kind of matted in cardboard. And she'd go, yeah, $40 each. So of course you wish you would have bought 100 of them, but so I got a lot of them from that. And so anyway, I've collected anything that looks like quality to me. I collect it. I've always loved a 3D version of an animated character. Ever since little Disneykins when I was a kid, little Marks made Disneykins, and I've got them over in my cabinet here. So all these, I loved my little Dopey. Was my favorite toy as a kid. I had a little Dopey, and I would play with him every day on a little shelf, and that was my little. Yeah, hey, exactly. See, when they're small, they're awesome. They're so cute. And yeah, I mean, I've always grabbed anything that has, because I can tell something that doesn't look that good to me, or the pose isn't good, something's not right. But when I see something really executed well, which they've done so much of in the last 10 years, 15 years. So I've collected it. I do have an attic full of, it's the grandkids just, I can't keep them out of the office, because I have what I'm sitting in is my office, but I also have an attic that's loaded with stuff too. So I'm waiting for the moment. I always thought when I hit 60, I would just start selling stuff, but I still love it. I don't want to give it up yet. So, we'll see what I keep and what I let go. I've got some rare things though that are really special to me.
Make sure that you subscribe and like so that we can continue to give you up-to-date information on all things that are going around the 25-mile radius of Cinderella's castle, because this is truly a magical place to live.